Welcome back to H-Lot Gaming, and this month's leak for Godforge, we got another art attack, so let's get into it. Okay, this first character, you can see up there, it's a rare. Also, final render, so this is essentially what it's going to look like. I did Google how to say that. It didn't seem like the way you pronounce it is anyway how it's spelled, so I'm not even going to try. But it's Xtabay, and from what I looked up, this is a Mayan mythology. She's sort of a demonic woman who preys on men using her good looks, kind of lures them to their death, it said. So I figured, in terms of skills, kind of think maybe a rogue type character, like gonna do some high DPS, but squishy. But also, I thought, with the luring men to the death with her beauty, she might have kind of like a confusion spell or ability, not a spell, that when it wears off causes damage or maybe causes a character to attack somebody else on their team. I think that one's probably less likely, with, like I said, her luring men to their death. I think the skill would directly affect who she's affecting, but you never know. But I was thinking also kind of roguelike because you see daggers over here. Possibly a skill with the hair as long as it is and it's red at the end, that kind of that's maybe where the demonic stuff comes in, but also it's very blood colored. So maybe who's that character from Marvel that's an Inhuman? Medusa, her hair is like her power, so maybe kind of something like that. Because we did see that character, what is it, 1 or 2 weeks ago? Yeah, in Simon's video, I believe on Hell Hades' channel, not a Fateless video, where he talked about the hair look like a weapon. So that's always a possibility with these characters as well. All right, we got this character here, Metzatil, I think is maybe how you say it. Upon first look, this kind of almost reminded me like if Storm was from like a Mayan background instead of an Egyptian background, if you're familiar with the X-Men. But yeah, she's the goddess of the moon or night. So maybe put some characters to sleep with her skills, something of that nature. I will say keep in mind with a lot of these characters, we're seeing, even as cool as they look, we're probably going to start seeing more epics, rares. I wouldn't say this is going to be common or uncommon with this amount of detail, but we have so many legendaries we've seen so far that we got to start getting the lower tier characters, but they're also still very good looking. And obviously, this is just the drawing, it's not even the rendering yet, so things will change probably to the final version of this character, but looks pretty good. We don't see any weapons so far, but all this all these markings on the character look very cool. But the eyes kind of made me think lightning, which is why I said kind of reminds me of a storm. But obviously with moon, like I said, put somebody to sleep maybe, or the goddess of night also, putting people to sleep. Either or kind of good. I don't know what else. But like I said, blue makes me think lightning. So I'm not sure what other skills she might have, but yeah, very cool looking. Okay, we got this character here, Archer, looking very cool. You see there some, let me zoom in. Some flames on the arrow. It looks like there's a dragon head there as well. It kind of gets blurry when I zoom in a little too far. But yeah, it looks like a dragon head, so I'm going to assume some type of fire damage as well. You can also see it on the bow. Most likely part of the Izumi or the Tien faction. If I knew more about, individual cultures throughout Asia, I might be able to tell you a better idea of who this is and which one they belong to based on sort of the markings and stuff. Obviously, this looks kind of Japanese. It's no guarantee what faction they'll be in right now. But yeah, archer flame skills. So probably some type of skill like HP burn or something with a percentage chance to land. Maybe book it up to 100%. We'll have to see. But again, probably an epic or rare. And the fact that we don't have a name makes me think probably a rare. Although, man, there are some uncommons that almost have this level of detail. But I'm going to say it's probably not an uncommon. But either way, still looking great. The little scarf there, they kind of point that out. Very cool. Okay, we got Makash here. This one we do know is an epic. And it's that faction, as if you couldn't tell by the clothes they're wearing, We're kind of really getting a sense of who's in what factions now because we've seen so many different characters for the individual ones. And again, I'm not sure how you say that. Vira, Vera, I'm not sure. Anyways, so when I looked her up, it said Slavic, associated with fertility, motherhood, and the earth. So I'm always kind of wondering with these fertility goddesses, you would think that's going to be some of our healers for the game, and some of them probably will be, but what other kind of skills could they have? Like this one's associated with earth. Sometimes earth characters have poison abilities, associated with nature, or they sort of have an ability to lock you in place, like you're stuck in the earth, or vines come around you or something. And that's also where the poison comes from, kind of poison ivy vibe from Batman, if you're able to control nature. Motherhood, we obviously have a lot of deities too associated with motherhood, but I'm not really sure what skills we might associate with that. Possibly resurrection or healing, sort of a nurturing nature, but I'm not sure. But either way, it looks very cool, right? Avalon's my go-to faction right now. I want the most of those characters I've seen so far, but I don't know, maybe this or Olympus might be my second right now. I'm not sure. I'll know better on launch. But let's take a look at the dress, Obviously similar to her clothes look kind of similar to Maria Morvina, which we've seen, some of the same type patterns, but I believe I don't think she was in a full skirt. I think she had pants on, I can't remember. But a very good concept. You can see up here the braids. And what is this? The roses from, I don't know how you pronounce that. Huh. I don't remember that character. Interesting. But either way, it looks very good. Okay, this one was pretty cool. Winged Reaper boss. I don't know if this is supposed to be a version of Freya or just based on her. And if you look at the VFX reference, that's obviously reference to something from Hell's Skill. At least that's what it looks like to me, her ultimate. And then this weapon, as we saw in my last video when I showed what Excalibur is going to look like in game, it looks like a variation of that, possibly some reused assets, right? This looks the same. The handle might be a little bit different, but different coloring. The spear is the same as Freya's, so I wonder if she'll have one in each hand or one on her back, or maybe the sword in her waist. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Also, the different coloring suggests a different type of abilities and maybe type of damage infliction, like not HP burn, but I don't know, some type of corruption or something, as opposed to Freya's, which might be like ice or water or lightning. So yeah, very cool. Very excited to see what this boss is. Are we going to see it in the caverns? That would be very cool, but we might have to wait for the full release to see that. And just take a look at, some of the pattern here in her. I guess that's the back of her skirt. Yeah, you can see her legs. It's almost like half a skirt or something. Either way, very cool. Oh yeah, this dude, I saw this. I was like, holy bleep, 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 bleep. Again, Asgard might be my second. I know I said a few other ones earlier, but I forgot about this. This looks freaking cool. This sort of reminds me of some Dwemer stuff from Skyrim. Even the weapons, right? Obviously, their own take on it, like the feet. You see the toes there. That's pretty cool. But yeah, it's like, what's powering this thing? How are they powering? Is Odin doing something that's, making this thing live? Because, I mean, it does look kind of like Odin, right? So it's like, could it be using part of his power? And again, I would say this is probably, a rare, maybe an epic. I say probably a rare, though, but very cool. I would definitely want this guy just because he looks cool. And I'm always kind of into, like Skyrim, like I said, the Dwemer stuff, kind of these living armor sets or statues. Not really robots, but kind of almost like robots, but powered by magic or something of that nature. So very cool. Oh yeah, and the hammer detail. So I'm guessing maybe that'll be on the end. Oh, it's right there on his belt. I see. Okay. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. So I can't wait to see more of this guy. This guy. Yeah. Even though Avalon's my go-to, I want this guy. If there's like some type of wish list where you can put on a higher rate to summon, just because he looks cool, just for that. Okay, here we get a better look at the weapon and specifically the hilt, sort of all the ornate gold on the Or is it gold? It could be brass. I don't know. On the handle. It's probably brass since it's up here in the weapon as well, right? But yeah, look it up there too. And then just the detail. Man, this is cool. I wonder too. Let me go back up. Yeah, so he has two different ones. I wonder if this is just different concepts because you look at here, like that's step one, this is step two, maybe. But it would be cool if he had one in each hand, right? And he has some type of I don't know, berserk skill where he just like runs up to a guy and like quickly does like 10 chops for a little bit of damage each, but 10 chops, so overall it's a pretty good amount of damage, like some machine. Although I have to wait and see how big he is, because right now he does look like he's going to be like a giant size, like Asag, right? So maybe he'll just have one big hit. But yeah, looking pretty good, because yeah, see, this looks, yeah. So this is the second one back here. So I don't know if they're going to do both, or this is kind of like step one, step two. Either way, very cool. Okay, here we see Banshee. We did know there's going to be a Banshee in game. We haven't seen this artwork yet for her. Not going to go too in depth with what Banshee's skills are. You can kind of look up their lore on your own. I feel like they're pretty well known, but you can see here, it's kind of hard to see due to the coloring, the background coloring, but like we saw a long time ago in that sort of black and white drawing, I think it was, the sword, or not sword, because I'd be going through it, the knife in her chest. And to see some of that detail start coming through, there's like, I don't know, corruption there. So it's almost like, I don't know, it's almost like she got stabbed in the heart and she made some type of deal with, we'd say a deal with the devil, but some evil entity to get this power. And this can't be removed except for by them. And that's like the only way she can die or something along those lines. Yeah, you can't really. Yeah, see, so it doesn't come all the way through. So it's obviously a knife. And then the detail in her hands, right? Making you think undead. Oh, I didn't even notice her hair, right? That's kind of always associated with banshees too. Like they have this ethereal hair that's floating behind them in their waistband and her belt. Just incredible amount of detail. Oh, and the tatteredness. Very cool, right? Almost like she was I don't know, a woman of well means and then made some type of deal to gain power to get revenge. And she's just been wearing this ever since. That's why her arms are tattered, but like looks like some damage there, but overall you can tell at one point it was very nice clothing. Okay, this character, they didn't give us the name, and we have seen the artwork before, but it's oh man, I don't know how you say it. Amaterasu, Amaterasu. It's a sun god that we've seen just the artwork before, but this is looks to be some type of render, because this is what kicked it off. I remembered the sort of like wolf or cat looking thing there. So you can go back and look at that video if you want. I'm not going to go into too in depth here. This is just another further step in the progression of the creation. And then here we see just a zoomed in. Again, you see those I don't know, foxes maybe, wolves. See, this looks more like a wolf, but then the ears look very feline-like. So I don't know. I don't remember when I looked it up, but you can see it up there too in the headdress. If you can see my little cursor, I know it's hard to see, sort of in the upper right. But you can see it in her headdress as well. Either way, very cool. Oh yeah, and then this down here, these little. Oh, and you can see it sort of on her back. Her hair is covering part of it. But again, right, some wolf or feline creature. Okay, this is the first I believe we've seen of Ishtar. And if you go back to the trailer reveal on my video for that, it appeared that on the cave, the glyphs sort of behind Gilgamesh, there was the star of Ishtar. So we knew she was going to be in the game. And I think we might even known that before. But either way, Mesopotamia is kind of her origins. And she's associated with love, war, fertility, and the Queen of Heaven. So, I mean, it's tough to say what level of character this is going to be, because you want to say the way these things look and with their mythology, legendary, but everything can't be a legendary. I'm thinking maybe with the detail in the crown or helmet, I got a little too blurry. At least an epic, if not a legendary. Also, the fact that she's on the background, or maybe it's her star's on the background, her star being this, in that chamber where Gilgamesh is smashing that pot, or I forget what it is, the something well. She might be of more importance than we're thinking. So maybe she is a legendary. And again, her sword, let's kind of scroll over. It's hard to see, but that maybe looks like a lion's head at the end of her sword. Very cool there. You can kind of see it there too. But yeah, just a ton of detail, right? Like, look at the hair. And like I said, I don't know if this is a helmet or a headdress, but either way. And you can see the musculature, underneath as well. So yeah, very cool. So probably an epic. I want to say legendary, but realistically, some of these characters gotta be epic and rare. Okay, here we see more concepts for the Ekur, EKUR stages, I believe. We have seen stuff like, yeah, this one down in the corner, if you see my mouse in the lower left, that sort of pyramid that seems like there's possibly going to be stages going up where you fight somebody, or kind of similar to this too, in the right and the bottom. But this stuff on the top is very new. This is the first time we're seeing this, but I'm gonna guess they probably are pretty well along on building these stages based on what we've seen when Simon shows like the build. So I don't know if these are kind of pieces so they can kind of put them together, because they all seem like the end of something, right? Like this would be the end, this would be the end, this would, and then clearly this, eventually you can see the end. Maybe like number 2 right here in the middle is at the top right here for number 4. But yeah, I'm not sure. These are probably just concepts for stages. I don't think they're boss areas, but I guess we'll see when the game actually comes out. But either way, yeah, see, it says Jungle Wave. Let me see if I can zoom in and read that first word. Oh, Mekiakan. Okay, yeah, right. That's not the other one, the Iker. That's like Shamash and them. This one is more the Mayan stuff. So Jungle Wave. Okay, yeah. So like I said, yeah, it seems like it's going to be stuff for the level, the concept of it. But looking very cool. So we'll see in the next slide, this is Hercules, and this is like a battleground. And this is water down here. I'm not sure if these are just generic statues or they're representative of something specific. Like these two are the same, or yeah, these two are the same, and the ones on the end are the same. So I don't know if there's some mythology about specific women around Hercules or if they're just random statues. But I would kind of think this is a boss stage, and maybe Hercules will jump over the water or walk through it. I don't know if he's going to be that big either, so maybe it's a specific boss thing, but then when you get Hercules himself, he's closer to this size. Also, this drawing doesn't have scars on his chest. If I'm remembering correctly, the Hercules we've seen in-game does have scars on his chest. Yeah, see, here you get a better concept. If you compare this to the drawing we saw above, there's that water in between, and it's Hercules sculpture, statue, same difference. Oh, I didn't notice that, the wall behind him. Interesting. Okay. But yeah, I feel like there's going to be a boss stage as well, but I'm not sure if you're going to fight the sculpture, because like I said, he does look different, but again, this is concept, so maybe that's why. But yeah, probably going to fight Hercules here. That's my guess so far. Although it could be cool if this was a PvP area, right? Like you're fighting in front of Hercules to prove your worth. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. Okay, this one threw me for a loop. I don't know what the heck this is supposed to be. I have a guess, which I'll tell you in a minute. At first I thought, oh, are these going to be the summoning stones? Like, right? That's common, uncommon, maybe rare. The rare one, legendary, and then whatever their version of void is. So similar to when Raid started or other games, you kind of have those different levels. To me, they look like dragon eggs. So I do think these are going to be for summoning heroes, but they look like dragon eggs. So again, like I've said many times before, dragons are going to be huge in this story. To what extent, I don't know, but they're going to be huge. So when the main story eventually comes out and I've been proven right, I want people to come back and comment on my videos or thumbs it up that I was right. That's never going to happen, but I'm still saying it right now. Dragons. Very huge in this story. But again, probably common, rare, legendary, and whatever they're going to call their void. I'm sure they'll call it something different. Or maybe they will call it void. But either way, you get kind of the hierarchy here. But very cool looking, right? Okay, and then this is the last for the art attack. We got some VFX stuff after this. Although I didn't notice this hand down here before in this weapon. I'm not sure who that is. But, so that's Shamash right there, I believe. And then I think this is Fafnir, I forget how you say it. That appears to be Baba Yaga, and I'll get back to her in a second. I'm not sure who this is. He's obviously going to belong to that faction that sort of resembles Egyptian culture based on his weapon. I think it might be the desert raider that we've seen, but I'm not sure. This is obviously Dracula, and then this is a Y Dragon, I think is how you say it. Something like that. But I did want to point out here, this is Baba Yaga. Chicken feet is part of her mythology, so it's got to be her. But so there's a skull right here on the ground, probably already there. Part of this battle, maybe another battle. But look at these skulls. So she's shooting something at least out of her eyes, possibly. I don't know where that one's coming from. Maybe her mouth. Maybe there's some from this hand. I can't tell. But also, it looks like the skulls are working with her. I don't know if this is gonna be one of her skills where she just skulls come out like off her belt and she just has them with her, or maybe she might have some weird skill where she teams up with fallen allies. So every time an ally dies, she has a more powerful skill. Like while she does it while everyone's alive, right? It's just her. By the end of the fight, she'll team up with 3 people and maybe they'll join in. I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with some crazy ideas because we know Phaelus is going to do some different stuff. But either way, right, the skulls appear to be shooting energy at this dude with her. But yeah, I don't know if they're going to put this up for you guys to download or not, but I hope they do because it looks very cool, right, as a desktop background. Okay, let's get to some VFX stuff for Dracula, and then we'll finish it off with a song that's going to be in game that I believe is associated with Dracula. Okay, here we got Dracula's core ability. It appears to be a buff of some type. This is Anubis over here and Pandora over here. We don't see any type of other pop-up, so I don't know if he's healing them based on, his own life. It does almost seem that way, right? The coloring red, but it does go up on him too, so I wouldn't think he's going to take his own life to heal himself. I'm just kind of going off of the vampire vibe, you drain life to sustain you, so possibly he's giving up some of his life to heal them, or maybe it's just a straight up heal. But either way, looks very cool. They don't show us the basic, which is very curious to me. What they're kind of like, what are they not showing us? What does that tell us? That part I'm not sure about either way. Very cool looking, but let's take a look at his ultimate now. Okay, this is the first view we see of his ultimate. Obviously very cool looking. Going to be a heavy damage attack, right? Multiple swings that essentially for all purposes are going to be a AoE. Even if it says attacks all enemies, right? You're going to hit everyone. But he sort of pulls in this, I don't know, blood magic wave and then unleashes it on his enemies. Okay, let's check out the other view. Yeah, very cool, right? You can see kind of the slicing of this wave better at this angle. And 3 hits. Again, being Dracula, maybe he'll have some type of drain ability that you can possibly land. And I don't know if drain's going to heal. That's kind of my feeling, but we'll have to wait and see once the game comes out. But obviously, a very cool skill, and we can't really see because they're not too zoomed in. Oh, what's going on? Whatever, the video glitch there. That was on my end. That's not the video clip. But either way, you can kind of see The weapon, very cool when it powers up. Notice how it changes. And you can kind of get a look at his armor as well in game, or rather in engine so far, but looking very cool. Okay, this is a Path to Doo-Wop piano roll, music from in-game. I kind of tried to figure out what this might be for, and I couldn't figure out what Doo-Wop was. I don't know if it's an abbreviation for something, but thanks for watching. I'll end this here. And again, thanks for the couple of people who subscribed last week. If you wouldn't mind liking if you like this video, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe. I'm trying to get to 50 subscribers. That's my goal right now. This has been H-Lock, and let's take a listen.